Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Nerd Streaming, Belaboring the Point on the Nerd and Beyond channel. I'm your unhumble host, as always, Adam, another nerd, man of gold. I apologize for the delay in episodes, but this is episode 2. So welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. In tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about all about Fantastic Four. Linked in the description below is the Screen Crush video that's inspired this particular stream. I would not affiliated with them, not a sponsor. They don't know about me. I only know about them. So if they ever see this video, give me a call. I'm not a writer, but I am a nerd. So and I have another great freaking thumbnail. Fantastic. Drinking whiskey and having a good time. That's what we're all about here. So the Fantastic Four. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like the Fantastic Four well enough, but I am not super familiar with their canonical comic book background. So I am basing this on the existing continuity of the MCU as best as I understand it and remember it. I've done some research, I've done some looking, and I'm pulling some ideas from Screen Crush, but I'm not gonna totally steal all of their ideas. So I'm gonna start with the movie. I'm gonna open it up with a hallway shot and talking, vague background talking, and it'll do a flyby, and you'll fly through this through the corridor of a university. You won't get a vague university, any university USA, and we'll open the door. The door will open, and the camera will go around the corner and go in, and we'll meet our first character, and it'll be our first two characters actually. And we'll zoom in a tight shot on his face and then a reverse shot. So it'll be zoom in, fly by, and we'll fly around the character, turn in, and then turn back. And we'll get to know these. We'll meet Reed Richards and because I don't want to get his name wrong, and I want to use his actual real name and not his super name. So let me look it up real quick. I believe what's his name? Yes, it's Victor Von Doom, obviously. So we meet them in school in circa 2003, 2004. They're both finishing up their PhDs in physics. We establish right off the bat that they're both super smart. So this scene only takes a few minutes. It's a quick hitter. It gets you in, gets you. Yes, Victor Von Doom. His real name was Victor Von Doom. Dr. Victor Von Doom. Obviously, at this point, neither one of them are doctors yet because they haven't earned their doctorate. They're working. They're getting their PhDs. So then the next scene, we see a as a montage of the two of them getting to know each other and working closely with each other in at school. And it's not a very serious scene in terms of the movie. It's not like we don't spend a long time on it. It's basically just them. It's just a montage. It's a quick hitter, quick montage. Establish some characters, set up some background, and then one more thing I need to look up real quick because I have lots of ideas, especially for the beginning of the movie, and I need to know people's real names so that I can use their real names, and I just have to use their superhero alter ego names or villain names, as it were. So again, this is why this show is called Belaboring the Point, because I'm going to keep repeating myself. But the idea is that that Victor Von Doom and Reed Richards are they're friends. Like, they known each other, they worked each other for about a year, and so they're familiar with each other. And click on that. I hate having slow internet. Doesn't want to load. Or a slow computer, I'm not sure which. And now it's loaded, so I can jump back over here and grab that name for myself. Okay, it's not loaded yet. There it goes. As soon as I click off of it, of course it goes. Yeah, okay. Good to know. So I got that. And we'll get to that in a little bit. So then we do a flash forward and we go into an off university, but obviously no longer a student. So we see an office and we see Richards working at his desk, and I really haven't thought of who might play each character at this point. I'm just establishing the setting and the scenes and working on some dialogue and basically just plotting the movie. So we're just gonna work on some plot ideas that I have tonight, and we'll probably revisit this over the next couple of years, or until we get an actual MCU Fantastic Four. I was watching another video, Fan Four Stick. I get that stuck in my head after watching. I don't remember Ralph the Movie Maker. I think it might have been. I'm not sure. Video about the last Fox Fantastic Four movie. So the idea, so we established that we have behind him on the wall back here is certificates, his doctorate, and his Nobel Prize in physics, clearly prominently displayed. We know he's really smart. So then, and this is one thing that I'm lifting directly from Screen Crush, and no shame. I'm a full credit. It's a great idea, and I love it, and I'm all for it. So what we're doing is we're taking the idea that Sue Storm actually is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she's been hired to recruit Dr. Richards to help with the Tesseract. And this is 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. Even have an idea of having the Iron Man, so late in 2008, early in 2009, the Iron Man press conference is playing. Maybe it's not the original press conference, maybe it's a news recap or something like that. That's my idea. So then she introduces herself as Sue Storm, and we have a conversation, and they have a conversation and go back and forth, and he agrees to help her. Now, I like the idea. This is my idea, is that Reed Richards is hired to work in the weapons department. That he is his primary focus is working with weapons, and he's a physicist, and so he's really smart. And he knows his shit, and so part of what he does is he helps to in phase 2. He helps to develop the weapons program. And so that's why we don't get to know him. We don't get to see him even in the even later on, and so we do another time jump. This is my idea: is to do several time jumps in the first 15 or 20 minutes. You take a break, establish something, come back and jump forward, and then establish something new, and then jump forward and establish something new, and constantly keep the pace and keep it moving and keep it flowing and keep keep that energy going out and up. And so when excuse me. So putting that idea out there, getting that energy and bringing it up, and keeping that energy high throughout the whole movie. Unlike me, who I'm dead tired, and you can't tell it from my face, because it's almost 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast, and I am dead tired. Been up since 6 a.m. and I didn't do hardly jack shit all day, so I am of course tired. So we establish that he's going to work in New Mexico. Do another time jump, and we get to meet some new characters. So at this point, we hear motorcycle engines revving, and we can hear a crowd cheering, and we see a banner and it says "Blazing Storm." And they do a motorcycle stunt scene, and it goes well, but Johnny Storm almost sets himself on fire, and they go out into the backstage area, and they do a curtain call, and they bow to the crowd, and they go out in the backstage area, and they're standing there and they're talking, And when a female comes up and she starts berating the two of them about how they're reckless, they're careless, and how they're gonna get themselves hurt and killed. And she doesn't know how much longer she can work with them. And we find out that that character is uh, Jennifer Susan Walters, and so she is, of course, She-Hulk. So she becomes. So it's only a brief cameo in this particular movie. It's just kind of establish her character and continuity in the MCU, and set the groundwork for a She-Hulk spinoff that can be part of the MCU. And then, of course, the Blaze in Blazing Storm is Johnny Blaze. They're both motorcycle, and I love that idea of him being a motorcycle stuntman and a stunt rider and all that good shit. I just think that was so much fun in the Nicolas Cage version of Ghost Rider. So that's my idea to establish, and that helps to establish Johnny's character. Both Blaze and Storm as reckless and wild and crazy and fun, and so they're having a show in Vegas. And let me see real quick again. More research and development is in real time. Actually, I will do it over here. I was sitting on the bench. Um, ah, it would help if I could type shield of Shield Facility, New Mexico. I do apologize for the dead air. Yeah, kind of. That's kind of what I was thinking. Los Alamos is kind of what I was thinking. So let's do Las Vegas to Las. That's okay. So it's about a 10-hour drive. Not a problem. So they have a conversation, and it's getting late, and Johnny's like, I'm just going to go see my sister in New Mexico. Obviously, we've established that Sue Storm is in Mexico at the Avengers building. Or the Avengers facility, I should say. Not the Avengers building, because the Avengers building is in New York, which will come up here shortly. So this is 2012, 2010, 11, somewhere in there in the timeline. And so what I want to do is I want to establish quickly and thoroughly who each of these characters are. Reed is really smart, Sue is really loyal, Johnny's a hothead, and and then he's a stuntman, and he's a daredevil, and so he likes to take risks. And so what I'm thinking is that that's one of the reasons why he ends up at the Avengers the Avengers facility, or Shield facility, I should say, the Shield facility in Los Alamos or wherever in New Mexico. It can be vaguely New Mexico because Los Alamos is right on the border, or is right in the middle, so it could be pick a border town. I don't care, whatever. So the idea is that he rides his bike to his sister's place. Well, he gets there. It's late at night. He gets there in the early afternoon the next day, and he's had a long, hard ride, and he's exhausted. So he asks his sister to take a nap. She's like, "Sure, knock yourself out. Couch, guest room, wherever." So he goes to sleep in the guest room, right? And there's he gets on her laptop because he wants to check something. Let's check his email, right? His phone's dead, right? So he goes, takes a nap, and he forgets to plug his phone in, right? He gets up and he's like, shit. He plugs his phone in. He goes to the computer. He opens the laptop up, and he sees the Shield logo, right? And he, has a brief pause, and he hits a button. He turns it on, opens it up, and he's like, "What's this?" And he starts clicking, and he opens some windows, and he can be good with computers. He can be like, computer. I don't really care. It's not really relevant. It's just part of, we can work on that and figure that out as we develop this thing. I don't want to say he's snooping because he's curious. It's not. There's nothing malicious. He's just curious. So he gets a little. He finds out about Los Alamos and about um Shield's research into weapons. And so when his sister gets back, he confronts her about it. He says, "What the hell is this?" And he's like, Shield is supposed to be an agency for peace, not war. Something along. Even though he's a hothead and a daredevil, he's still peace, love, and harmony and all that good nonsense. And so what happens is that she's like, "Well, come on, check the facility out. It's not all bad. The weapons are just a worst case scenario after Iron Man and Thor and Hulk and these super beings are becoming more and more prevalent. Captain America's out of the ice." And she trusts her brother, with her whole, there's definitely a camaraderie that they have in a connection that they have that's more than just they're more than brother. They're not lovers, but they're more than brother and sister. They're not just brother and sister. They're best friends and confidants. They tell each other everything, literally everything. There's nothing. They don't keep secrets from each other. They are each other's secret keeper. And so what ends up happening is that um they end up at the facility, and she gives him gets him a guest badge, and she's like, "This is my brother," and the guard's like, "Oh, it's Johnny Storm. I can't believe I'd actually get to meet you. My kid's a huge fan," or some nonsense, something like that. "Can I get an autograph?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. You got a pen?" And so he signs this piece of paper for the guy and hands it to him, and he's like, "Thank you. This is incredible. It's means so much. I can't believe it. Go on right in. Here's a guest pass, and just don't break anything." And he's like, "I haven't broken anything in years." And it's kind of a bit of fun banter back and forth. Gives for some good comedic timing, and allows them to explore their gives them a chance to explore their personalities and kind of be silly and funny and goofy and have a good time. So they go down in the basement, or they go down. Actually, it's not in the basement because it's the Tesseract is in the basement. So they go to level 3, right, or level 2 or whatever. Some bullshit. We'll make something up. We'll figure that out when we burn that bridge when we get to it. And so she's showing him around, and they bump into a guy, and he's like, "Hey, watch it." And he's like, "Oh, hey, sorry about that. Watch it," or something like that. Again, I'm not a big comic book reader. I'm not a huge fan of the Fantastic Four, so I'm kind of thinking about moving some of the characters around. I know they were New York characters, but I like the idea of Ben Grimm being from the Midwest, kind of a country boy, grew up on a farm in Iowa, or up in the up on the lake in Michigan, or in a dairy on a dairy farm in Wisconsin, something like that. Farm boy, a Midwest boy. Oh, he grew up big and strong and kind of dumb. He played offensive line. He's not the world's smartest boy, but he's not stupid. He's just he's not he has an intelligence that's all his own. He's not stupid. He's not an idiot. He's not a moron. he's uh he's uh he's good-hearted. He means well. He's just misses some social cues, and he's a lieutenant in the Air Force, and he's on loan to Shield because he's the best damn pilot in the Air Force, and so that gives him reason to be that's why he can fly, and he's been at the Shield facility helping to teach players. Fuck me. To teach the pilots of Shield how to fly Quinjets, and learning himself. He's helping the Shield force learn how to fly the Quinjets and learning how to fly himself, because eventually the Army wants to requisition a couple hundred, or the Air Force I should say, wants to requisition a couple hundred Quinjets and start trials on flying them themselves. So they send Ben Grimm, who's a lieutenant. He's not like some super high ranking officer or anything. He's just a lieutenant. But he's a good guy. He means well. His heart's in the right place. And so you can understand why he's trusted. And they don't, so so they bump into him and he's like, "Oh, watch it." Or or something like that, "Sorry. Oh, sorry. Watch it." And then after that, then the alarms start going off like crazy. And she's like, "Come on, we gotta go. We gotta go. And we gotta. Has anybody seen?" And Ben, the three of them take off sprinting down the hallway, and the evacuation warning's going, and the power starts to dip, and somebody comes skidding around the corner, and she's like, "We gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here." And it's like, "Have you seen Richards? Is he out? Where is he? Was he here today?" And they're like, "I don't know. I haven't seen him. Is he down in? I saw him a couple hours ago in his office." Like, "Come on, we gotta go check." And so Sue leads them to his office, and he's in there and he's poring over his research and he's grabbing papers and he's running around crazy, and he's having himself a conniption fit, right? Because all the alarms and that's when the first earthquake strikes, and they don't understand what's going on down below. And this is how I'm keeping the continuity separate yet contained. And they go to head out and they go to head back the way they came, back up to the surface, and they're like, "We got to take the stairs. The elevators could go out at any time. You don't want to be trapped on a goddamn elevator." And they're like, "Yeah, shit, no." And so they go into the stairwell and they start to go up, and the stairwell collapses, or begins to shift. And like, "We'll never make it out of here in time." They go back down. And like, there's only one thing we can do is we can take the I believe it's called the Q jet. Let me look it up again. More research as we go. Okay, that's not what I was looking for. Let me look up Fantastic for Space. Space. Doop-de-doop-de-doo-de-doo. Come on, search you transistorizing tormentor. It's incredibly frustrating when my internet won't do what I need it to do, and this is why I don't swing. This is why I don't sing very often, because I really can't. Marvel 1. And so they head to the basement. Okay, I'm done with that. Refresh that. And that looks good. So anyway, they go in, they get on Marvel 1. And they're like, they have procedure, and the Shield has procedures and protocols to follow in the event of a facility collapse. And everybody goes to ground for 2 weeks. And so that they can clean up and assess the damage and get the facility right back to going if the facility is salvageable. If not, if after 2 weeks they haven't been contacted, they everyone is supposed to rally at the Avengers Building in New York City. Um, if otherwise not contacted by a member of Shield with an authentic authentication code. Say that 5 times fast. Fuck me again. An authentic authentication code. Um. Uh. Then they. Then they're supposed to. Oh. What? I went to the Marvel Cinematic Universe wiki, and I am okay. So. Was Project Pegasus the let me look here. Sorry again about the dead air. Oh Lord, more advertisings. Okay, so okay, cool. Check that. Went back and looked. We're gonna you know actually what they're gonna do is head. They're not. They check the manual, they check the handbook or they whatever, and nothing comes up. And so she so they end up deciding to go to New York City. They fly to New York City. A couple of days they're grounded. And a couple of days after the fall after the fall of the destruction of Project Pegasus, um, they go to they decide they got to go to the Avengers building and try and make sense of what happened. Okay, so this is all taking place in like the first 45 minutes in the movie. So then what happens next is they go to they approach New York City a couple of days later, and they can see the portal is open to this. So as they approach, they hear they open the communication because they're trying to raise the Avengers, and because they can't get okay. So what happens is they can't get a hold of anyone at Shield. Sue can't get a hold of anyone at Shield, and everyone thinks they're dead, right? And so they continue to have, after a couple of days of not being able to reach anyone as their supplies are running low, they say, screw it, let's go to New York, let's go to the Avengers HQ, the Avengers building in New York City, and we'll see if we can't get somebody there. Well, maybe we can meet with Tony Stark or Captain America or Nick Fury or somebody like that. So they all agree. and they decide to make their way to New York City. And again, it's not. I'm not gonna belabor. I may be belaboring the point, but I'm not gonna keep. I'm gonna keep the action moving. I'm gonna keep the movie going. There's not gonna be a lot of skirmishes or obstacles in their way until after they get after the Battle of New York. So what's gonna happen is they're gonna hear Stark on the. They're gonna try. They open the communication lines and they're gonna attack. They're going to attempt to get involved in the battle, and the Ben Grimm is gonna go. There's this weapon. This ship isn't armed, or something like that, and they're gonna hear Cap say, even our biggest guns couldn't touch it." And they'll all look at each other and like, well, we got to do something along those lines, and they're gonna attack. So they're gonna decide to ram it. Maybe we can take the building down. It'll destabilize the platform and close the hole. And so they're gonna fly into the so they just about the time they decide to fly into it, just about the time they hit it, there's a jolt and a blinding flash, and and um so they end up underground, and there's only emergency lights, and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I think so." And so they end up waking up, and they can't figure out what's going on. Don't know where they are. They undo their belts and like, where are we? What's going on? And and um they're like, oh, ugh." And they go to step out, and they open the door, and that's when they're met by Chitari. The Chitari are like they click and clack at them, and they're like, and it's like, who? What the hell is going on? I don't know what the hell is going on here. I just woke up. I know as much as you do. And just about the time they're about to get blasted away, orange circles burst through their chest and they crumple to the ground. And the Ancient One steps up and she's like, "It's not safe for you here." And they're like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm the Ancient One." "The Ancient what?" "Not a what? One. The Ancient One. A master of the mystic arts, superpowers. You ever heard of him?" Like, "No. Uh, kinda, maybe." And she grins and she's like, "Yeah, come on. It's not safe to be on the streets anymore." "So what the hell's going on? Will you just shut up and follow me? I'll explain everything in a minute." And so she takes them down the street, down an alley, through a door, and into the Sanctum Sanctorum. And she goes to the shelf and she grabs a book and she's looking at them and she opens the book and she looks at the book and she looks at them and she flips some more pages and she looks at, "You're not from around here, or are you?" And they're like, "Oh, we're from. What do you mean not from around here? Not from New York, no." She's like, "No, the timeline. You're not from this timeline, are you?" And they're like, "What do you mean not from what is you timeline? What do you mean timeline?" She's like, "Yep, figures." She puts the book back on the shelf, and Ben Grimm's like, "What figures?" And she's like, "You're from another reality." Another reality? What do you mean another reality? There's only one reality. Time and space are interconnected, all proceeding along one parallel timeline or some nonsense. And this timeline, the Avengers lose. Excuse me. And she's like, and they're like, the Avengers. The when we went through the when we flashed, there wasn't the there wasn't anything going on. And so my idea is that in this alternate timeline, the Avengers lost because the World Council decided not to launch the nuke. And what ended up happening is which didn't prompt the Avengers to find a way to shut down the portal. They ended up trying to use weapons to knock it out, and now I lost the internet. It's been just one of them damn days. Anyway, hopefully it's not lagging out too damn bad. So anyway, they end up going. So they end up, of course, the Sorcerer Supreme tells them that because the Avengers because the World Security Council didn't try to New York City, which didn't cause Iron Man to put the missile in space, which didn't cause the Avengers to use Loki's scepter to turn the portal off. Which ended up causing which is why the Chitauri were able to win. The Chitauri were able to the Avengers and take New York. So in reality, this is only a few minutes after or a few hours after they had disappeared from our timeline. Now, mind you, in our timeline, everyone thinks they're dead anyway. And so I know it's a long story and there's a lot of background, and I'm gonna do another part because I'm getting tired. I'm sorry, guys. I hate to cut this short. I know I did 2 hours last week or 2 weeks ago, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do a full 2 hours tonight. And let's go ahead and end it there. I want to mention briefly that this is a nerd stream, so any kind of nerd things you want to bring up, cars, movies, books, television, anything nerdy, anything goofy, anything wacky, and I will continue to work on this over the course of the next couple of weeks and months, and we'll do a whole revisit, and I'll recap it all, because that's all I got really at this point. I have some other ideas of where I want to go from here. I definitely want them. So the next thing I'm thinking is they go and they meet with Bruce. So let me go back over it real quick. I'm gonna try and give you a full hour. I'd also like to get your thoughts and ideas on it. I may or may not be back again next week with another episode. I may have my Saturday show. I'm not sure yet. It all depends because this whole month has been wonky. And cheers to that. So again, like I said last week or 2 weeks ago, the show is a nerd stream. It's for nerds, by nerds, about nerds. It's everything and anything to do with nerdy shit. So if you're a nerd and you're looking for something fun to watch on a Thursday night, late night, I would like you to come out and check me out. It's not for kids, obviously, but that's okay. I This is how I talk all the time, so I can't change who I am. Again, I have fun with it. I can't wait to keep going and get into more details because I love this. I love that working on things and thinking about movies and things I would like to see and doing that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna call it right here at the 40-minute mark. I'm too tired. I'm just exhausted and my brain is pooping out on me. Keep the lines of communication open. Let me know what you think and what you liked and what you'd like to see more of. And leave comments, concerns, questions, conspiracy theories, and other such things in the comment section below. Links to all relevant media and hashtags in the description. So if you missed it, or if you want to know more context about the Screen Crush video, that's available for you too. So without much further ado, I'm going to go ahead and call it for tonight and get out of here. We will talk to you again in a couple of weeks. Peace. Oh, now